Hello everyone, I am Pepino here, and I'm back for more Kerbal Space Program. Last episode, we launched our Jeb Kerman space station, and today we are going to take the first three new Kerbals up to the space station. These guys are actually old veterans. They have done a mission before. They did the first spacewalk, but now they are going to live up on the space station with Jeb, Bill, and Bob. So, here we go. Launching in 3, 2, 1. And now, I'm using mostly solid fuel boosters to get up to very high speeds quickly here, at least that's the idea. To get these guys up into orbit, and then we will have to get near our space station and either dock, which could be tough, or we would have them use their jetpacks to get over to the space station, depending on how far away it is. Either way, both present problems, so it'll be interesting. We'll see what we end up doing. Solid fuel boosters are just about out. There they go, they're out. But, we need to get our apoapsis up high enough to rendezvous with the, space station. And, hopefully we have enough fuel to do that. I haven't tested this craft. I figured it would have enough fuel to deliver them, but I'm not actually sure. Alright, get ready to detach the next stage. There we go. Stage detached. We're spinning. We don't want to spin. We hate spinning. Uh-oh. 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 Let's throttle down and stop this spin. There's our RCS kicking in. So that spin almost violently tore the top off of this thing. You can see we may have some trouble with this, but oof. We might as well press on at this point. And hope for the best. So let's start trying to get a tilt, if that's possible with this thing. We are falling, or not falling, but our speed is going down, which is obviously not what you necessarily want at this point. But let's try extend this trajectory to where we can get an encounter, and I'll have to rethink this. I'll add some more support struts for the next mission, assuming that this design works, other than that little minor flaw that we had. These rockets are so slow at doing everything. I put on these slower ones, thinking that we would need them for more of the fine adjustments that we have to make, but now I'm starting to regret that, 'cause they're taking forever and we're slowing down, even with them at full throttle. So, I don't know if this is gonna work, to be completely honest. I really don't. And unfortunately, the space station's all the way over there as well. I could have probably waited for a better time to launch. but the problem is these things orbit really, really quickly. So you gotta basically get yourself on the same orbit as them. You can't just have one meet up with it, because it'll be there and gone before you know it. Um, hey, we're gaining in speed again. We are back on track, sort of. So we may have a chance now. I'm going to keep thrusting in this direction. And just hope for the best. Don't know if it's gonna happen though. I'm really, really skeptical at this point of the ability of this craft to do the job it was designed for. So this may be a problem. Yeah, I'm gonna need more fuel, better rockets on the second stage. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with an all-around bigger design. So, man, I would like to keep trying this. I'm gonna stop recording here for a little bit, see if this is gonna go anywhere. If not, I'll bring them in for landing, and we will try again with a new design. So, be right back. Okay, well, somehow this thing actually got up into orbit. And now we want to get right around, what was it, 280 is where it was. And then what we're going to want to do is basically get our orbit to be similar to the orbit of the space station, but just slightly different, which we already sort of have that. But anyway, so we're just slightly different than the orbit of the station, so that eventually either we'll catch up to it or it will catch up to us, depending on how you do it. So, have that at 280, that's slightly farther, and now I'm going to warp for a really long time. And I'll bring you guys back when we're close to it catching up, or us catching up to it. Okay, so you can see how this little red arrow with the line connecting it, you can see how that's getting closer to the other red arrow, and that means that it's catching up to us. We've been orbiting for quite a while, obviously. But once it gets close to catching us, we're going to have to stop and then do a burn so that we can get really close to it. So, this time around, it should hopefully be close. Maybe? We'll see how close it actually gets. Alright, that's pretty darn good. So now, what we're going to want to do, I'm going to turn on my RCS, turn off my SAS, and let's just do a couple experiments to see. Alright, burning this way, we're bringing that closer in. We're bringing our closest intersection down under 1 kilometer, which is what we want. Oh, whoa, don't do that now. Alright, turn off our RCS. We're right around 1 kilometer, which will be good enough. So then we will warp time till we get around there. Our separation's right around 1 kilometer. These guys can jetpack 1 kilometer if they need to. Ideally, we could even bring it in slightly closer than that, but 1 kilometer is close enough. Now you see we've switched to our speed compared to our target. So, that's how fast we're going in comparison to the space station, which is fairly far away from us still. But we're going to try bring this down now with a couple RCS burns. So if we go like this and slow ourselves down compared to it, this will get closer. So we're going to do that and get it as close as we can. Turn off our RCS, and then let's warp time again. Once we get closer there, we are going to basically just completely slow ourselves down on this meter to around 0. That's ideal, which means you're basically on the same orbit as that, so relative to the space station, we won't be moving. Hopefully you guys could hear what I was saying there. My mic was not in the right position. It's very late. It's like after 3 in the morning, and I wanted to finish one more mission before bed, which is a bad habit I have. Just one more mission. I was just going to launch the space station, and then I was going to go to bed. Now I just have to do this, and it's all whatever. And I put it up because I was eating some delicious Cheetos. But hopefully you heard that. Basically what I'm saying is we switched to our target velocity here. This is how fast we're moving relative to the target. And we've just slowed and got our separation down to 4.4 kilometers. And we're going to slow ourselves down now. Its distance away isn't too far. We're going to use our RCS now to slow ourselves down compared to the target. No, is that not what we want to do? Alright, yeah, that way. We want to thrust that way, which should slow ourselves down compared to the target. I'm not too worried about this anymore because I'm not trying to dock. If we were trying to dock, which is much more difficult, you have to get this basically down to 0. You have to touch it, which, let's say the kerbals are not very good at docking. I am awful at it. I've tried a couple times, but it takes a lot of practice, and that's practice that I do not yet have. So we're just going to keep using our RCS to slow ourselves down. The distance between us and the station is getting smaller and smaller, and like I said, just keep slowing ourselves down relative to the target. And if we do that, then I'm going to just give it a little burn. I don't need to use the RCS because that's why I put the super weak engines on, so that we could do things like this with our engines if we needed to. We go slow enough, so we're down to under 10 meters per second. So compared to the space station, we're moving at less than 5 meters per second now. And if we were coming into dock, this would be decent. We'd still need to get over to it. Alright, now this is where it can get a bit tricky. So let's turn on that and use our RCS to get it down under 1. Turn off our SAS here. Oh, and see, even just moving around with the RCS can affect it. Good enough. Good enough for me. We'll do that right there. And now we are moving at like 1/10 of a meter per second compared to the space station. There's the space station right there, 1.3 kilometers away, and that's where it will stay, because we are moving at basically the same speed. Now, here comes the suspenseful. Here comes the suspenseful part. These guys have to jet over to the space station.